But now I removed the motor over to this car. This is my new RX28SE Gen 2 and is now going to be my 3500 race car. The reason why this one is out is because my second test for today is to compare the lap times between my original RX28 with the rocket motor versus the SE with the rocket motor. This has 3 grams of added weight in the battery tray. This one, no added weight, and it's 7 grams heavier, even without any added weight. 7 grams heavier. Tires are the same for all three. For the comparison later, this will have the exact same suspension setup. The only difference, ball diff and gear diff. I'm gonna try it with the gear diff first and then switch it over to the ball diff and see the difference. I'm curious to see if this can match this car. I honestly don't think it can, because 7.4 is fast. It's not something I can hit whenever I want. It just, I don't know what happened, but I got 7.4. And I know I can hit 7.5s with this car. 7.4, so I'm gonna have to shoot for 7.4. But today I'm also gonna put this car on the track and see if I can, what lap times I can hit, the fastest lap time I can hit for today, and then compare it with this car. The ESC settings identical, even the radio settings can be identical. The only difference really is the 7 grams and it being SE and this one regular RX28, but the brass chassis Gen 1. Because these two kind of drive similar compared to the Gen 2 non-SE plate. This to me is a little aggressive feel to it. This one, it has that balanced feel, that easy to drive feel. I'll give you guys an update in the speed lap times with the 2500. You know, is it worth buying this $500 car to run in the 2500 class, right? To me, I think it is, because it's easy to drive. The SE is just easy to drive, just like the non-SE Gen 1 with the brass chassis. I find it easier to drive than this plate, but it doesn't mean that this car is slow. Okay, it's just easier to drive with this car, but you still have the steering, even though it's running firm tires. This one, firm tires, has more steering. A little bit aggressive with this car. But anyway, I'll keep you guys posted. I don't know, maybe I'll add the video here, or maybe I'll make a part 2. Well, we'll see. Okay, this is the part 2 of that 2500 video that I did yesterday. Gen 1 RX28 with 2500 motor, and Gen 2 RX28 SE. This is 7 grams heavier than this car. This I did not bring yesterday because I know there is no way that this car will come close to this guy's fast lap. Why? Because this has ceramic bearings and it's 7 grams lighter. Fast lap 7.43. This car right away hit 7.3s on my first battery pack. The last 7.3s was 7.30. That's fast. So I said maybe I should try a new pack and see if I can break into 7.2s. And I did. I hit 177.2 once and I stopped driving the car because that lap time is just ridiculous. 7.22 fast lap with this car. The only difference are 2 things. This is ceramic bearings. This is a ball diff. This is regular bearings. And this is a gear diff. So my plan, either today or tomorrow, is to move this gear diff over to this car. And maybe even move these are all same compound tires and same diameter tires. But I'm gonna move these tires over to this car and see if I can easily hit 7.3s, because this car was easily hitting 7.3s. The 7.2, I actually have to try that, and that's the reason why I only hit it once. Well, I mean, I only hit it once because I didn't try to hit it again. When I hit 7.2s, when I hit this 1.72, I pretty much stopped because that time is just ridiculous. That's a 3,500 lap time, so that's too fast. This car is fast. And look at, man, the gap is 2/10, you know. If this car with the gear diff and same tires, and this car is still hitting high 7.3s or barely making it to the 7.3s, I am definitely gonna buy another SE for my 2,500 race car. My mod is already an SE, and I'm probably going to get rid of these two. But if the lap times are the same with the gear diff, then I know it's just the gear diff, right? But that is a big gap. This one took, I want to say 10 laps to get used to the gear diff, because man, it's turning to slicks and the back end is rotating because the tires are now slicks. These are Marka 15s. When I hit the brake at the end of the straightaway, slam the brake and get on the throttle, I can't hit full throttle right away. I can only hit up to 80% and then back off and then get on the throttle. With this car, after I slam the brake, I can hit full throttle right away and then back off, and the car will stay composed. This one, man, the back end will spin out. The back end will spin out, so I need to be careful with that. There's a lot of throttle feathering with the gear diff, even though it's only 2,500. But yeah, if this is easily getting 7.3s, then I'll keep it. But if I have to drive it hard to get to 7.3s, then I need to sell it. I'm gonna get this one. That's the update for this part. I guess there's gonna be a part 3 to where I would bring these two cars and switch that gear diff around. I tell you, this one can hit 7.1. I'm gonna tell you now that this car can hit 7.1 because in the chicane it's slow. The car is so fast that when I get in the chicane, it feels like a modified car. I can make it tighter in the chicane, but I'm not going to do that because this time is already fast. I'm not going to try to push it. We'll see. We'll see. I actually like to push my cars and myself, so we'll see. Maybe I'll change the layout so I don't have to deal with that. But because when you drive the car to its limit and you're on your limit, it's exhausting, man. It's not easy. I don't just drive around and try to get lucky, hit the fast lap. I'm actually pushing the car. This is why, there's the reason why I started noticing these little things, It's just, this car doesn't like it slow. If you put a slower battery, the car doesn't like it. It's harder to drive the car. It likes it with speed, kind of like a mod car. But when it's low, oh man, it doesn't drive the same as how it is with a faster battery. Faster meaning right out of the charger, because the first battery pack I had this car, I had the 80% charged. So anyway, part 3 would be these two comparison. Okay. This is the part 3 of that video between the 2500 motor in RX28 non-SE Gen 1 and the RX28 SE Gen 2. So what I did was I moved this gear diff to this car, and I also put the newer motor. This was the original Rocket 2500 that was in this car, but this is an old motor. So I wasn't sure if this car with this motor was faster because of the motor, or is it because of the the overall car, the SE just faster than the Gen 1 non-SE. So I put the newer motor and the gear diff, the tires in this car, ride height, droop, everything the same. And I actually do not want to make this video because it wasn't fair due to the weather. The weather when I was testing last week was 20 degrees cooler than I did when I was running this with a 2500 motor. And this did a 7.2 one time and a lot of 7.3s. Warm day. Temperature was 78 degrees and the temperature when I was testing this was 57. So it's a lot cooler. And the fastest I can go is 7.39. This one 7.22 with a lot of 7.3s. This one 7.39 one time. I can barely hit 7.4s, low 7.4s. Yeah, it was and I think it has something to do with the weather, so it's not fair. And this week I'm going to we'll see if I'm gonna yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll try it again and see if I can hit, because tomorrow is going to be slightly warmer. I think it's going to be 70s, still not 78. Yeah, we'll see. I really don't think I can match this car, because this car I can be aggressive with the throttle and the steering and the car would stay under control, composed. This one, I think I've reached the point where it feels kind of edgy, even running with the same body, the exact same body. It's like I'm hitting the limit with this car. But then again, you know, like I said, it's cold. The temperature is a lot cooler. I think I'm on my 7th day of testing. Feels like total 7 days. But this time I brought both cars the same day and drove them back to back. And on Friday, this is the RX28 SE Gen 2. This car, fast lap, did 780. On Friday, this car did 782. Okay, and multiple 7.8s for both cars. And then I came back again the following day. I didn't do anything to the cars. Okay, they're the same. They're both running ball diff now. By the way, this is now June. We have a new layout. And the new layout, you don't need to use your brake. However, some corners, the back end wants to spin out. So I put I think because it's still slightly a new layout, so it's still kind of green. So I put the ball diff just so it's a little bit more forgiving. I'm not losing the rear end every time I come out of the corner. And the tires combo, I moved them over. This is somewhat newer. I moved it here and moved it back. The lap times are the same. They're both doing 7.8s, even with the switching over the tires. On Saturday, I came back again, and this car is the track is getting better. Traction. This car did 770 in, I think, the first 20 laps. 30 laps, I would say. And then this car, same thing. In 30 laps, did 771. Okay, so I think the traction had picked up. The temperature on Friday and Saturday, the same. I don't think it's any warmer. It's 72, 74. However, when I was driving, so they're the same, okay? Same rocket motor, RX28 SE Gen 2, RX28 regular, but Gen 1. Same speed control, same gear ratio. They both have titanium Kyosho shaft and ceramic diff balls. This has ceramic bearings though. This just has regular bearings. Um, I I can't tell that this car is going to be slightly faster than this car or this car will be slightly faster than this car. They both feel like they're the same speed. However, driving this car feels more more planted, but it now feels like it has more steering on power. This car. This, however, has on power understeer. So the lines are slightly different, but you know the lap times are doing the same. And I don't know why that is. Maybe because of the weight of the chassis or where the weight is located on this car. But driving this car, you know, with the same layout now that I'm driving them back to back to back, this one is actually, I can be, you know, just a tad more aggressive. None of the cars, even if I'm driving it aggressively, traction rolls. Even if I snap the steering, it doesn't traction roll. So yeah, both cars are the same. I'm actually surprised. I thought it'll be like a tenth faster. For example, this one would be a tenth faster, or this one would be. I really didn't think that this one's gonna be faster, but it's the same. You know, that's actually a surprise, and I can't believe it took me this long. But but yeah, doing this test, most noticeable was the temperature changes. The the car's traction is just different, especially now with the lipo battery and the brushless motor coming out of the corner. That's what makes a huge difference now. Back then with the AAA, yeah, sure, we warm up our tires, but coming out of the corner, we don't have this much punch. This one, you can spin the wheel. It's amazing. So much punch coming out of the lipo battery and the brushless motor. My speed control doesn't have any punch, and I think the drive frequency is set at 16K. My setup is linear. I sometimes would also do, even in stock, negative throttle curve in the 2500 class. I just like it smooth. So they're both the same. Will this car be faster if I put ceramic bearings? Who knows? Maybe I don't think it's gonna be a 10, but right now I think as far as the feel, this feels like it's more fun to drive. You can kind of, you feel connected to the car, where the car is just like kind of rolling and it's doing it so smooth. This one feels like you have your car set up to the aggressive side to where it just wants to steer right away. This one has kind of a little bit of a, it's not scrubbing speed, but it kind of has that delay. It's kind of the difference between putting that shock upright versus putting that shock to the lowest position on an angle. That's what it feels like. This car, but they're the same setup, okay? They're both upright. This car feels like I have the front shock in the lowest position, while this car has the upright position. That's kind of what it felt like on the track. Then again, you know, same lap times, they're both consistent. They're both consistently hitting like the first maybe 12, 15 laps, I can get into the 7.7s. Then after that, just like multiple 7.8s on both cars. And the transition from this car to this car and to my new car, the this one. Actually, I have. Can you see it? Yeah. My first Gen 2 3500. The transition between these three cars is so easy. I don't have to struggle to chase the feel of the car. That's really cool. Especially these two, you know, I can just go back to back and it kind of feels the same, but of course when I switch over I don't go aggressive driving right away. I kind of ease up on it. Okay, so if you get this, you can run it in the 3500 N mod, the SE. This one maybe max at 35. For the Gen 2, it doesn't matter the brass or the steel chassis. But for mod, probably not. I would go with this one. This one's more stable. Yeah. Is it worth buying this for the 2500? Right now, I would say for if you're just strictly gonna run 2500, find one that's used, the Gen 1. Oh, you know what? Maybe not the Gen 1 because the parts may not be available. Definitely get a Gen 2. The SE is more expensive, but it's so easy to put together. And you can put 25, 35 and mod for this car. This car is kind of limited, 25, 3500. Okay, when I say this car, I'm also referring to the Gen 2 plate. So, okay, but if you're just gonna be doing 25, 35, yeah, this is good. The non-SE. Okay, all right, thanks.